customer lifetime value is a long-term ideal being used to justify short-term decisions that businesses just cannot afford. I want to start with a line that might sound familiar. Everyone is talking about customer lifetime value right now. Lifetime value, retention, repeat purchase, building a long-term brand. And just to be clear, I'm quite often one of those people. But the problem is not that founders don't believe in customer lifetime value. The problem is that customer lifetime value is a long-term ideal being used to justify short-term decisions that businesses just cannot afford. And that mismatch is quietly killing a lot of otherwise good brands, because you cannot compound lifetime value if you can't survive the cash cycle required to get there. I'm Jason Chappel, founder of Defiant and creator of eCommerce Growth Made Easy on School. I help e-commerce founders grow profitably, not just make more sales, but actually keep more of what they earn. And right now, we're entering what I'd call the flow era of e-commerce, where cash flow matters more than growth stories, more than pitch deck ready metrics, more than theoretical lifetime value curves. Because if cash stops flowing, everything else becomes academic. So let's zoom out for a second. The last few years trained founders to think in a very specific way. Acquire cheaply, push average order value, and hope retention catches up, and raise or reinvest before the wheels fall off. And for a while that worked. But the world of e-commerce has changed. Ad costs are higher, inventory cycles are longer, payment terms are tighter, and consumers are slower to repeat. Capital is no longer forgiving bad cash flow management, which means we've moved from a growth-first era into a flow-first era, and most brands and agencies haven't updated their mental model yet. They're still optimizing for outcomes that only work if cash is abundant, and customer lifetime value is the best example of this. Customer lifetime value is very real, and customer lifetime value really does matter. But customer lifetime value does not pay suppliers. Customer lifetime value does not cover payroll. Customer lifetime value does not fix a cash gap in March because inventory arrived early and sold late. Cash does. The real danger I see brands getting tripped up on is a misunderstanding of customer lifetime value. They hear, if your customer lifetime value is strong, you can afford to lose money on the first order, which is true. Sometimes. But what's missing from that sentence is if you can finance the gap safely. Because customer lifetime value is not money in the bank. It is a projection of future behavior, and projections can be fragile. They assume customers consume the product. Customers reorder on schedule. Customers don't churn early. Customers aren't discount trained. Your operational costs stay stable. Your acquisition costs don't spike. And that's a lot of assumptions. So when a founder says, we're happy losing $20 on the first order because customer lifetime value is $180, my first question's not, how do you get more of these customers? It's, how long do you have to float that loss before the second order arrives? Because timing matters more than those totals. A $180 customer lifetime value paid over 24 months does not solve a 60-day cash hole. So cash flow is a timing problem, not a profit problem. And this is the distinction that a lot of people miss. Most e-commerce businesses don't die because they're unprofitable on paper. They die because cash arrives later than costs. You pay suppliers up front or on 30-day terms, ads daily, staff monthly, tools constantly, but revenue arrives after shipping, after returns, after payment processing. Customer lifetime value stretches revenue forwards in time. Cash flow compresses risk into the present. And that's why you can have a profitable business with strong retention and still feel constantly squeezed, because profit and liquidity are not the same thing. And when founders lean too hard on customer lifetime value narratives without mapping cash flow, they create a really dangerous blind spot. So we're now entering the flow era. This is where I think e-commerce is heading. And thankfully, the flow era is no longer about maximizing metrics, which has been a bugbear of mine for ages. The amount of times people have told me they're working on conversion rate optimization, when in reality, they're aiming for conversion rate maximization. The flow era is about maintaining momentum without choking the system. You don't optimize for peak ROAS, you optimize for a repeatable contribution margin. You don't chase maximum average order value, you protect reorder cadence and stock health. You don't ask, how fast can we grow? You ask, how fast can cash move through this system without breaking it? And customer lifetime value absolutely still matters here, but it's under cash flow, not above it. Customer lifetime value tells you what's possible. Cash flow tells you what's survivable. And this is where retention comes back into the conversation properly. Retention is not about squeezing the next sale. Retention is about ensuring consumption happens fast enough that someone needs to reorder. If the product sits unused, reorders get delayed, customer lifetime value stretches, and cash flow slows. Which is why education matters, onboarding matters, post-purchase matters, product usage matters. Not because retention is good, but because consumption accelerates your cash recovery. A faster second order is more valuable than a large eventual customer lifetime value. Speed matters. So what's the balance? I guess it's this. You build for customer lifetime value, but you design for cash safety. And that means knowing your peak payback window, not just your customer acquisition cost, knowing how long cash is tied up per order, knowing how many loss-making orders you can float safely over a given period of time, knowing what happens if your repeat orders drop 10%. It means planning for reality, not best case scenario. And it means rejecting out-of-date advice that says, just invest now, it will work out later. Because later is not guaranteed. Your payroll is. Now, if you're hearing this and feeling that familiar tension, growth versus stress, here's the mindset shift that needs to happen for you. You need to stop asking, how high can customer lifetime value go? And start asking, how quickly can this business pay itself back? Customer lifetime value is the upside. Cash flow is the constraint. And healthy brands respect both. Now, like I said at the beginning, the problem is not that founders don't believe in customer lifetime value. The problem is that customer lifetime value is being positioned as a replacement for cash discipline. And in this next era of e-commerce, that's a mistake fewer brands can afford. And if this episode's hit home, your action is simple. Look at your business through one lens this week. How long does it take for cash to come back once it leaves? That one answer will tell you more about your growth options than any dashboard ever will. If you need help figuring this out, sign up for a free consultation with me where we can unpack your numbers and unlock growth for you. The link's in the description. And I'll see you in the next one.